What is going on, guys? My name is Dimitri and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to break down my digital minimalist phone. And before we get into that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of my latest videos. With that being said, let's dive into my digital minimalist phone. So this is my digital minimalist phone. It's kind of crazy how this phone is a lot different than even people I know. First and foremost, there's not a lot on here. As you can see, there's only a few widgets, as well as only 4 apps on the bottom. And then I have 2 apps on the second screen, which is not too bad. And then there are some widgets over here. But there's really not much. I'd say it's less than most. There used to not be these widgets here, but they kind of help me, so I've utilized them over time. First and foremost, why is there barely any apps on this phone? Why don't I not have a bunch of folders, which then I press into and then go into apps? It's because in order to go into any kind of social media or app that I don't really use often, I have to scroll down and, like have the Siri suggestion thing come up. So essentially, what that tells you is it creates more friction. So in order to get on Instagram, I'd have to type. And then I'm on my screen time at the moment. So I'd have to go in here and then also undo the screen limit. So that level of friction really prevents you from going into apps that you don't need to use. And that same level of friction is why I actually have the 2 apps on the side one. Now, these 2 email apps are my work one and my, personal one. Now, these 2 apps are Outlook and Gmail, which are utilized for multiple different email accounts. And that really helps me get to the point where I have to I can't see the notifications, and I also can't see my email. So it makes me less likely to want to just instinctively open it. When you have something like that, it'll really make you want to open it. I don't know if you guys have had that feeling before, but when it comes to any sort of metric or something that has an inbox, you just kind of be waiting for new things to come in for that little dopamine hit or whatever. And not having that on my main screen really helps me keep that more minimalist lifestyle, especially digitally. And I just prefer to have it like that. So a big thing here is, I don't have many apps on the phone. As you can see, I only have Microsoft To Do, Teams, Safari, and iMessage. And then there's a Notion widget, Google Calendar widget, podcast, music. Really the stuff I always use, and everything else is in this app library here, which is another step. If I have to go and find something manually, I will. But the thing is, now that iOS lets you put these in the app library, I think it's really good to remove everything from your home screen and just put it in there that you don't use consistently. I got to the point, by the way, where I only had Notion, Google Calendar, Safari, and iMessage on my phone. Now, over time, I found that there's a little bit of functionality that can be found within having things where I have them now, but it just shows you that I didn't need it for a while. And having everything in the app library is not a bad thing because it kind of declutters the space in general and helps you only have the apps that you need in front of you. So the main homepage widgets that I have are this Notion one, this Google Calendar one, podcasts, and music. So when we look at the Notion one, you have the favorites that pop up, and then you have your recent. So actually the script for this is in a recent. So it's really nice to have that. I would say the Notion app is semi-annoying in the way that it opens with a shortcut, which I'll get into in a bit. So I just went with the widget, as well as it also helps to have the, let's click the daily planner view. Let's click my last thing that I opened, or let's click something that I opened 2 times before. That's really helpful. So that's why I have the widget. And the Google Calendar one, it's just nice to have what's in front of me here. So I know that I need to exercise in about 45 minutes. I need to get going. And I have that little view of the next few hours, which is really nice. And then for the bottom 2, it's I really like having the content that I would consume in front of me that's more intentional, because if I have the option, I will just open up YouTube and listen to YouTube in the background. However, with that being the way it is, I can then just press podcasts, open it up, and get listening to Up First from yesterday, or if I want to go and listen to today's, I can do that, which is much better. Same goes for the music. It's really nice to just press this. You can listen to Panic at the Disco. You can listen to my study playlist, or my, now work playlist, where I just listen to different classical music and stuff like that to help me get through the day. So referring to the shortcuts that I actually have all of the apps set up here in black and white because minimalists minimalize things on their phone too. So I don't know why we like black and gray so much, but it is what it is. I have a black and gray background, like the little mountain stuff, and that goes along with these black and white sort of icons. And all you do is you go into shortcuts, and for any app that you want to make a shortcut, what you do is, you can see here I have all my apps that I've made over time. Basically create a new shortcut. You name it whatever you want to name it. So let's name it Notion Test. Okay. Then we go and we hit add action, and then you can do apps. No, then you can do scripting, open app. Done, and then hit here, hit add to home screen. Then you can put an icon here, and that's where I put the black icon. Then you place it on your home screen, and it takes over the view that you would have had otherwise. So if I go into Safari real quick, it's just opens it up. Now the way that shortcuts are, it does have this little drop down thingy that happens. Not the hugest fan of that, but it's better than seeing notifications, because I really like having these shortcuts, because you can see my iMessage, I never know how many texts I have, which is good, because then I don't feel like opening it, or I don't get stressed by the number. Same with the email, and same with anything else like this Microsoft To Do or Teams. So the second to last thing I want to talk about is the side widgets I have here. So this is just very easy access stuff. I would rather not open up maps every time I have to go somewhere. Now granted, I have Apple CarPlay, so that's nice, but I don't have everything, and not every car though that I'll ever drive will have Apple CarPlay, so it's nice to just have this to quickly go places, or if I'm walking, same difference. And then I have the sort of Todoist situation with the Google API, so I can just write a note in here, and then it'll go to my Notion To Do, which is really nice. And then if I look here, I started listening to an audiobook, so this is just kind of where I keep random notes for myself that don't need to exist for a long period of time. So that's where I'm at in the audiobook. Then I have, the weather, family calendar stuff, and then I have my screen time and my battery, which only comes in handy really when I do this with my AirPods. So you can see it shows like all that kind of stuff. That's kind of the main purpose of it, because I'd rather not have to figure that out in any other way. So that's why I have that. And the last thing that I have, as you guys saw earlier, was I have screen time limits. So like different apps, I don't allow myself to go into between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. So that's called downtime in iOS, which is really nice. I just realized I closed my phone, so the screen recording stopped, but that's fine. Basically, I don't allow myself to go into those apps, and it's really nice to limit yourself in that way, because you don't get distracted in those early hours in the morning. It really is important, because I mean, like you guys could see by the time on my phone, if you could see it on my phone, I'm recording from like 5:30 to like 6:30/7 on Wednesdays, and then on Tuesdays as well. So I really can't get distracted. I need to fit this in before I get going, because then I have to work out, and then I have actual work. So it's important. So that's why I have that downtime set. But overall, I think having a digital minimalist phone has helped me improve my productivity. I spend a lot less time on my phone than I used to. I'd say my screen time averages went down at least 30 to 40%, which is good. Any time less spent on my phone where it's not needed is good with me. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about digital minimalism and the way my phone is. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.